Hey, welcome back to the channel. I've been doing remake and comparison, videos, and I've been talking about a lot of movies that I enjoy. Just so you put it out there real quick. The movies that I talk about is the movies I like, and like I told you folks before in some of the other previous videos, a lot of the movies that I talk about could suck to you guys, and they might be horrible to you guys, but most movies I talk to you guys about is just movies I like, ladies and gentlemen, or just to let you know. So these two movies are similar to me, okay? So that's why I got them. These two movies are in the comparison category. So these two movies are basically about two truck drivers who are just pure evil. Two truck drivers who are pure evil. Now, the first movie I'm going to talk about is called The Duel. And it's not called The Duel, it's just Duel. That's the label, Duel. And boy, is it a duel. It came out in 1971. It's a thriller action movie. And it's an hour and 30 minutes long. And I was 12 years old when this movie first came out. It's got 89% Rotten Tomato score. And it's got an 87% people like the movie, including myself. Your leads in this movie was only one person. It was Dennis Weaver. He passed way back in 2001, I think. Something like that. Yeah. And this was directed by Steven Spielberg. This is one of some of Steven Spielberg's earlier work. But I love his early work, though. I like his other stuff, too. But basically, this business guy he had to go, he was married, and he got up early in the morning, and he lived out in California, and he had to go on a business trip. He told his wife he's going to be back later on in the evening because he was going to go to this business trip in L.A., which is, like, I think about 4 hours away, and then he's going to be back later on that evening. So he goes on this, he gets in his car, and it's just a normal day, and he passes this rusted big semi. This semi was rusted looking. It was just... it was just a rusted semi, but it was driving down the road, and the Dennis Weaver's character decided to go around this truck, and this truck had a lot of smoke coming out because it was old. So he goes around the truck, and the truck apparently the guy didn't like that, And what was cool about this movie was, did he go around that truck or did the truck go around him? I think maybe the truck went around him and then slowed down. And then, Dennis Weaver's character's like, what the heck? And then he's like, so he was like, what the heck? So he passes the truck, and then that's how this whole thing started. And it all the way across to his, I don't even think, he got to his business, his destination, because the whole movie he was just fighting this truck. It was like a cat and mouse all the way through. I mean, this truck was rusted. He was out there in Bakersfield, California, and he was out on these rural areas, man. And this truck was so creepy. And all you seen was this guy shifting the gears in the truck. And when it showed the front of the truck, where you can look out the windshield, you never seen the guy's face, but you can see a silhouette, and you seen these cowboy boots. Yeah. And so this whole movie's set up like that. And all he did was he just passed this truck. And that guy had a hard on for him. And I mean, this whole movie, this guy give him all kinds of trouble. So that's how this movie's set up. And I really love this movie. There's a part where he decided to stop. And he decided to stop in this restaurant because this thing chased him off and had him almost wreck his car and go through the fence, and people come out of the restaurant, and then they ask him, was he all right? And did he, he's trying, see if he was okay, and then he's like, yeah, I'm okay, So he stops at this restaurant, and then, he sees that truck parked, because he goes in and he tries to talk to people and tell them that there's people's like, what's going on, buddy? He goes, oh, this is crazy truck driver and stuff. And they was like, oh, wow, so he decided to get something to eat. But in the meantime, he goes in the bathroom and he's talking to himself. And he said, all I did was pass this guy, just let you know. And he's washing his face, so he comes out there and he decides to get him something to eat because he figured it's over. He looks out there and that truck's parked out there. So then he's looking in this restaurant and everybody's got cowboy boots on. So he's trying to figure out what the cowboy. See, everybody's wearing cowboy boots, so he can't distinguish who this guy was. So he's sitting there drinking his coffee and looking, and you got everybody. The way Steven Spielberg did this film, it's like he was looking at people, and people was kind of looking at him because he had just wrecked his car. So there was like people staring at him in this little restaurant, and then he's looking and he's trying to figure out. Now he ended up grabbing this guy, and it wasn't the guy. After he got into it, the guy was like, "Man, you're crazy." And then when he looked up, that truck was pulling off. Look, whoever drove that truck was just pure evil. My second one is Joyride. Joyride came out in 2001. I was 42 years old. This is a thriller mystery, and it's an hour and 37 minutes long. And it's got a 74% Rotten Tomatoes, and 83% people like the movie. And I love this movie as well. Now, your leads was Stephen Zahn and Paul Walker. Paul Walker, passed away in a tragic accident. And then Leela Sobieski. And this basically is about, Paul Walker was this guy. He was, he went across country to go get this girl from college because he had hots for her. And then his brother is played by Steve Zahn. He decided to go pick him up before he picked up this girl. And then they ended up playing a trick on this truck driver by acting like they was some type of hooker. So in this movie, though, this truck driver talked, but you never seen his face. And they played a real bad trick on him, and he ended up hurting. So they went to this motel and told him to bring this pink champagne, and they was in the next hotel. And then when that truck driver pulled up, they told him that they was in this other apartment. Well, there was a guy that was in the other apartment. He ended up hurting that guy real bad because the state highway patrolman knocked on the door and told him that, do you guys know anything about this truck driver that hurt this guy next door? And that truck driver was thinking that it was going to be a hooker girl he was going to hook up with. But when that truck driver figured out that they played a trick on him, man, all hell broke loose. So they end up trying to go to pick up this girl, which was played by, this girl in college was played by Leela Sobieski. And while they were trying to get there, this truck is tormenting them. And they was going through all kinds of crap with this truck driver. And in the meantime, this truck driver, they called them, they used this, they got on the CB and said they were candy cane. And this truck driver had this weird voice. And he had a perfect voice for a creepy voice as a truck driver. But you never seen him. The only thing you seen was him walking around his truck. But you also, in the Duel in 1971, the guy walked around his truck as well. But you never seen the guy in the Duel. The only thing you seen was his boots. But in this one, you seen a silhouette of his body, but you heard his voice. And whoever played that voice in Joyride, man, he had the perfect voice. Well, they go and pick up the girl, and then they pick the girl up, and then the truck driver just keeps tormenting them too. But see, it was their fault because they were playing a trick on this guy and it backfired on them. If they would let that truck driver alone, I don't think they would have. They got on that CB and they started playing, Steve Zahn talked his brother Paul Walker into using a woman's voice, and then this guy was like, "Hey, yeah, I like to hook up with you, man." She goes with, and then they used this CB name called Candy Cane, and man, his voice was so creepy. But he put all three of them through hell, and this used to be one of my favorite movies. And it's so sad because Paul Walker died, in a car accident, several years later. But anyway, these were about two evil truck drivers who just made the people that was traveling in cars life just pure chaos, because it was just tormenting them all the way through wherever they was traveling, And the Duel came out 1971. It's based on the same thing, the evil truck driver. 2001, Joyride, it's based on the evil truck driver. And, they just, the first movie, the guy just literally went past him and he got mad about it. The second movie, these guys played a trick on this guy, and this guy figured out who they was, and so he tormented them. You know what I mean? That's how that movie was. But anyway, you guys, God bless, take care. That is my two evil truck drivers stories. And they're kind of similar. They're just different and made several years apart. So God bless and take care, and we'll catch you in the next video. We'll see you.